Hello everyone. I thought I would do an update on the goats. I hope you're having a nice day. As I'm filming this, it's Mother's Day, and it's been a nice day for me. Got a good nap in. But it's been a while since I excuse me, shared anything about the goats. So, as many of you know, this past February, Jasmine over here went into labor 10 days early, and 11 days is the absolute maximum that premature goat kids can actually survive. They never ever survive at 12 days from what I've read. So 10-day-old premature kids is pretty bad and pretty scary. And so they usually don't survive. It's pretty tough. But Jasmine went into labor, and thankfully I came and was fed the goats some branches from the cedar trees. And right over here is some cedar trees on my neighbor's land. But the goats just absolutely love mountain cedar trees. People hate them because they cause so much allergies and stuff, and are water hogs. But Jasmine went into labor 10 days early, and when I was feeding the branches, I noticed she wasn't around, and I went looking for her and found her in the shelter with wet triplets. They were wet. I think one popped out right as I arrived, and she just turned around and started cleaning them up. Well, they were in pretty bad shape. They couldn't stand up, had no energy, couldn't keep their body heat at, a goat should be about 102.5. Anything below 100 is super dangerous and can result in death. Basically, they can't digest their food or anything if they're below 100. So, when I found them, they weren't in very good shape. I immediately ran to the house and got towels to clean them up and try to help them. And after a while, I'm dealing with these babies, and I knew she was premature because I knew when Jasmine came into heat and when she got pregnant. There was no question whatsoever. And excuse me, I've been having a lot of congestion lately. So I'm taking care of these babies, and I'm communicating with people as I'm dealing with this crisis. I'm communicating with other goat people over Facebook. And thankfully, a friend asked me what the kid's temperature was. So as I was in the house when I got that message, and I grabbed a thermometer and came out, and the first one's temperature was I think it was like 89. It was low. And so I just picked up all three babies and threw them in a towel and carried them to the house, and immediately, they actually fit in my bathroom sink, each one at a time. So I would, since they were still all pretty gunky from just being born, and these two right here, I believe, are the premature. I know the girl is the little spotted one on the right here. That's the girl, and this is the boy. And I'm pretty sure they're the twins that were premature. Well, part of triplets. But I gave them a bath in warm water to clean them up and start warming their body temperature up, and dried them off. Then stop that. Okay, that's enough. He's butting me and everything, pushing on my leg, and it's starting to hurt with those little horns. I did not disbud these kids, but got them under the heat lamp and started working to get their body temperature up. And finally got their temperature up, but they could not keep their body temperature up. The little girl was the first one to get her body temperature up, and I tried bringing her back to Jasmine, but her temperature just plummeted again. So I had to bring them in and keep them in, which really upset Jasmine. She is a fantastic mother, and so she was very, very upset with me taking her babies from her. But I kept these three in the house under a heat lamp for 3 days, basically 2.5 days. they were only taking about an ounce or two at a time, and they would literally fall asleep on me. So I just give them a little bit of milk in a bottle, and then I would, oh, quit that, you little monster. You quit that. Stop that. No more. No more. And so I would, every hour or so, I would give them a little bit of milk, and I tried to, I don't have anything out here for kidding. I just let them kid where they want to. Most of the time they want to kid in the building, the shed or shelter over there. I actually have 2 shelters, and that one right there is the first one that was built, and far over there is another one, and sometimes they'll kid over there, but primarily they use the first one. They like that the best. And so, and there's no electricity out here. My electric pole is way over there, and I mean, there's no way I can separate anybody over here. No way I can get electricity over here. I mean, it'd take a heck of I'd probably have to have 4 or 5 electric extension cords. So, but over at my buck paddock, which is way over there, you can see the shelter for it. I have a hay shed, so I cleaned that all out. Thankfully, at the time, I was running out of hay, and so I just, cleaned it all out, fed all the hay to the goats. I was able to run an extension cord from my back of my house over there and put up a heat lamp and get it all ready for a nursery. And the kids were about 3 days old when I moved Jasmine over there, and then brought the babies. Oh, but before that, on about 48 hours after they were born, she'd had 2 boys and a girl, and one of the little bucklings passed. Honestly, I never saw the kid poop. Behind was never dirty. There was just absolutely no evidence. I mean, I was feeding the kid, but there was no evidence that anything was coming out. So I don't think that kid had developed the intestinal tract to survive. So, that baby died, leaving with just 2. Well, at about 2.5, 3 days, I was able to move the babies out with Jasmine and have the heat lamp, and everything was, she accepted them. I was really worried. That was one reason why I wanted to get them out there, even though none of the babies could stand up yet. They were still wanting milk. They were starting to drink more milk, starting to be a little bit more alert, but they were still not doing very well. I kept the heat lamp on them all the time, and every time anything would wake me up in the middle of the night, I was up and heating up milk to feed every baby. And the first few days, they did not cry at all. The last night they were in the house, I was woken up by baby cries when they got hungry. And that was a huge, improvement in their development. Because, the babies should have been crying when they were hungry. But the first few days, they had no ability to stand, no ability to do anything except sleep. And they would literally fall asleep while I was feeding them the bottle. But finally, I was able to move them out to Jasmine, and she accepted them right off the bat and started cleaning them and stuff. But they were still way too weak to get up and go, nurse on her. Didn't even know how. So, if I woke up in the middle of the night, I would, get up and go out there and feed them, and then come back in, and it was pretty exhausting. It was really like having, a baby, a human baby, because they needed food so often and just little teeny bits of it. And they were even like, human babies in that the first few days, they couldn't even support their necks. I had to support the head and everything. I mean, it was so much like a human baby. But by day 3, I moved them back out with Jasmine, and she accepted them, and they started doing better. The next day, the little girl, I believe it was, started getting up and managed to start, get on her feet and start, learning how to stand and walk and stuff. And so I started working with her, putting her on the teat, because I was having to milk Jasmine out to get them their milk. And so I started putting her on the teat to get a little bit of milk, and then supplementing with the bottle. And I think it was, day 4, not positive, but she finally, caught her nursing. And so I was really thrilled about that. And then once she was actually nursing, she would still want the bottle, but she was nursing. And then the boy started getting back on his feet and, getting strong. And by the next day, I was able to put him on the teat, and he started learning to nurse. And it was a few more days where they still wanted the bottle, but, first the girl said, wasn't hungry for the bottle, and then the boy wasn't hungry anymore. So by the time day 6 or 7 came, they were pretty much weaned off the bottle and getting everything from Jasmine, and they were doing good. And I kept them out there for several more weeks under the heat lamp. This was it was the end of February they were born, so it was March, and we had days where I would turn the heat lamp off during the day because it was so nice, but then at night it would get pretty cold, and I just didn't want to take any chances with these babies. So it was a while, good maybe 3 weeks or so before the heat lamp was totally turned off, and I felt everybody was strong enough and doing well enough to come back over here. And Jasmine was really happy, because I know even though on the other side of the wall and fence were goats, I had her separated from everybody with just her babies. I was terrified of the bigger goats trampling the babies, because they were on the weaker side and stuff. But they, finally were good enough and healthy enough and doing well enough that I brought everybody over here, and they've just been doing great. The babies are growing. They're old enough to be weaning from Jasmine. I'm pretty sure she's still nursing them, because she's just an absolutely fantastic mom. You couldn't ask for a better mom than her. And would you stop it and stay off of me, please? And so they're doing great. And the bucklings, him and in fact all the bucklings I have are ready to go to new homes as soon as somebody wants to buy them. They're all for sale. And the other update I want to make is on this girl. As you know, on Palm Sunday, I let the goats out to graze in the afternoon, and I took a short nap. And usually they stay around here. Sometimes they go off into the woods and stuff, but they never go very far. Well, they may go on the other side of the fence. There's some good pasture over there, but I'm not sure where they were. But when I woke up, they were all by the front door of my house, every one of them. And Pepper here, her mother was missing. And it took me a few days, but then I discovered, because Pepper was hiding in the woods, she wouldn't let me get near her. But then I discovered her eye and her other injuries. She had some puncture wounds in her neck, her head was all scraped up. And so that told me exactly what happened to Bea, her mother. And this is Bea's little girl, her other little girl. Pepper's the first doe, the first kid she had here that I still have. Pepper's sister died and her brother got sold. But this girl was born here, I guess it was February. And so she was only 5 weeks old when this happened. There's never been any sign of Bea. I'm positive that a predator killed Bea. And my assumption is that it was a mountain lion. There have been sightings of a mountain lion on some game cams nearby here. And this was in the middle of the afternoon around 3:30. And, you know, usually, I mean, everything points to that it was probably a mountain lion that killed her. And my knowing Bea, when I would yell at another goat, Bea would always come between me and that goat and kind of discipline the goat and protect me. And so I think that a mountain lion tried to grab Pepper, and Bea instinctively went between, the mountain lion and Bea, trying to protect her, and lost her life. There were never, ever any vultures or anything. I'm convinced that, all remains were eaten that day. The mountain lion feasted, and then coyotes or whoever else, round hogs, finished her off. I've had issues with Pepper behavior-wise. She was pretty traumatized, hid in these trees, so I couldn't even get to her for a long time, and I had some issues of her just absolutely freaking out. One day, her boy got caught in a piece of wire and couldn't free himself. It wasn't serious. I had no trouble. He just, pick up your feet and step over it kind of issue. But the kid was screaming, and Pepper just went ballistic. And even after the kid was freed, Pepper kept running back to the area like she couldn't find her baby. Pepper is definitely blind in one eye. If she has any vision at all, it's probably not much, just shadows or something. If that. Her eye doesn't look good at all. But she's definitely acting more like herself and doing a lot better, so that's good. And the little black girl, which is Bea's youngest daughter, who was 5 weeks old when this happened, I've been bottle feeding. I am now weaning her. She's just getting a little bit of milk twice a day, and hopefully in the very near future it will be completely. She's plenty old enough to be weaned. I've just been lackadaisical about reducing the amount of milk I've been giving her, but I'm really working on it because I'm tired of coming out here twice a day with a bottle. But that's what's going on. It's sad to have lost Bea. It was very upsetting. And I haven't really let the goats out much since then. Just because of the dangers, which has been tough because there's so much to eat. Excuse me, out there in the paddock. But everyone's doing good. All the babies are doing good. Everybody's at an age where if I'm going to sell them, they're old enough to be sold, which all the bucklings need to go somewhere else. That's just, you don't need very many of them at all. You keep the does and sell the bucklings. But I just thought I'd share with you an update on the premature babies and and the situation with Bea and Pepper and her daughter. At first I was calling the little kid Bea too, but I'm probably going to change that. I tried to sell her, but now that she's almost weaned, there's no reason, because I really don't like bottle feeding. It's a tedious job. And since the person who was going to buy her never came through, and nobody else came forward, and I think for now I'm just going to keep her, because I really like, Bea was a very good milker, great udder, and good personality. And Pepper has a lot of that personality, and so I'm going to see what this kid produces, what she grows up to be, if she's worth keeping in the future or not. So that's just the update. It's starting to get pretty dark out here, so I'm going to wrap this up, but I just wanted to let everybody know the update. Hope everybody's having a great day, and nice relaxing day. And just, if you want to keep up to date with what's going on in my little part of the world, subscribe and like this video if you liked it, and just thank you for viewing. Take care. Bye-bye.